The Fisherman and His Wife. Once upon a time, a poor fisherman and his wife lived in a little cottage near the river. Every day, the fisherman went to the river and fished for dinner. One day, the fisherman caught a magical fish in his net. It said, "Fisherman, I beg you to let me live. I'm not really a fish. I'm an enchanted prince. Please let me swim away." The fisherman quickly agreed to let the fish go. "Say no more. I'm quite willing to set free a fish that can talk. For you I'll grant a wish," said the fish, but the fisherman said that there was nothing he needed. The fisherman let the fish go free. When he went home, his wife asked, "Husband, what have you caught for me to cook for dinner?" "I haven't brought anything home," he said. "I did catch a big fish, but he claimed to be an enchanted prince, so I threw him back in the water." "Oh dear," she said, "you might have at least have made a wish before you set him free." "I couldn't think of anything we needed," replied her husband. "What would you have wished for?" "Well, we certainly could use a nicer place to live. I'm sure that if you go back and ask the fish for a nicer house, he will gladly give it to you." The fisherman didn't really think that they needed a nicer house, but he did as his wife asked. The fisherman went to the river and called, "Princely fish that I set free, hear my words and come to me." Just as soon as the fisherman had finished reciting his rhyme, the fish appeared. "Why did you call me?" the fish asked. The fisherman was a little nervous, but he got up his nerve and answered, "My wife would like to make a wish after all." "And what's her wish?" said the fish. "She doesn't want to live in a tiny cottage anymore. She would like to live in a nicer home." "Go home to your wife," said the fish. "She already has her wish." The fisherman hurried home. There was his wife waving from the doorway of a pretty new house. The house was filled with everything they could possibly need. "Now we can be happy," the fisherman said. But a few days later, his wife said, "Husband, this house is too small. We need more space. Go back to the river and ask the fish for a castle." The fisherman wanted his wife to be happy, so he went back to the river and called, "Princely fish that I set free, hear my words and come to me." Again, just as soon as the fisherman finished speaking, the fish appeared. "Now what?" asked the fish. The fisherman thought that the fish sounded just a tiny bit angry. "Alas, I must ask another favor of you," the fisherman said regretfully. "It seems as though my wife now wants to live in a castle." "Go home, she's already there," said the fish. When the fisherman returned home, his wife waved to him from the balcony of a huge castle. Its rooms were full of golden furniture, and the tables were overflowing with wonderful things to eat. "Isn't everything beautiful?" asked the wife. The fisherman nodded his head in agreement. He looked at all of the things inside the magnificent castle. The fisherman thought now that they must have everything they could possibly want. But the next morning, his wife woke up frowning. She said, "Husband, we live in a castle. It's only right that we should be king and queen of the land." The fisherman really didn't want to be king, but his wife insisted. The unhappy fisherman gave in and went back to the river. Once again, the fisherman approached the spot and called out, "Princely fish that I have set free, hear my words and come to me." The fish appeared before. This time, though, the river and sky seemed to get darker. "What is it now?" he asked. The fisherman was sure the fish was unhappy, but he asked his favor anyway. "I'm afraid my wife wants us to be king and queen." "Go home. She's queen already," said the fish. Sure enough, when the fisherman arrived back at the castle, his wife was sitting on a high gold throne. "Now that you are queen," said the fisherman, "surely you will not wish for anything more." "I'm not sure at all of that," said the queen. "I have a feeling there's something else we need." That night the fisherman slept well. His wife, however, lay awake tossing and turning. She was busy wondering what her next wish would be. Just as the wife was about to fall asleep, the morning sun came up. Bright sunlight poured in through the royal bedroom window. The wife sat up in bed. "Husband," she called out, "I do not think that the sun should be allowed to rise without my permission. You go tell that enchanted fish of yours that I want to have complete power over the rising and setting of the sun." "Wife," said the fisherman, "please don't make me go back and call the fish again. I fear that this time that favor is too much to ask." At this, the wife flew into a rage. "Go tell the wish to grant me my wish," she said. Quaking with fear, the fisherman got dressed. He hurried out of the castle and headed towards the river. As he walked, strong winds began to blow and the river began to rage. The fisherman stumbled to the riverbank. The wind was so strong he barely could hear his voice. "Princely fish that I have set free, hear my words and come to me." A bright bolt of lightning struck the river's edge, and a loud clap of thunder rang through the air. "What does your wife want now?" bellowed the fish as he rose up through the choppy waves. "Oh, fish," said the fisherman fearfully, "she wants the power to make the sun rise and set." "Go home to your wife," said the fish. Suddenly the wind stopped blowing just as quickly as it had started. The waves on the river calmed, and the water was peaceful again. The fisherman went home to find his wife in front of their humble cottage. "Husband," said the wife, "I'm so sorry that I got carried away with greed. Each new and better thing only made me think I wanted more. But the more I got, the more unhappy I became. I forgot to be happy with what I already had." "It's my fault too," said the fisherman. "When you wanted more, I asked for the fish for it." The fisherman lovingly kissed his wife, took his net, and went to the river. He gazed into the clear blue sky as he fished. That night, he brought his wife a nice plain fish for dinner. The end.